Now that we have covered how to use Lineworks, let's create some simple expression lines as an example of how to animate these lines. This character is the rain model made by Yuli and Casper on the Blender Cloud. My plan is to add 2 lines to the corners of the lips when the character smiles. This will be a simple test just so that we can demonstrate the workflow of animating these lines. 1 line will be a grease pencil stroke and 1 line will be a mesh strip so that we can see how to work with both types. And both lines will be using the individual roots type of rig. To start, let's initialize our grease pencil taper curve and leave it at the default settings, and also add in a material for the mesh line. I will not be turning on hide all other objects. With this character, the hair and the eyebrows and the eyes are all separate objects, and it would look kind of strange if they were hidden from the character. So let's get started with Lineworks. We will use Control-click to start adding our line. I'm placing the line points using the topology of the mouth as a reference. And the roots placed by the auto root option look pretty good. They're not too large and they're in pretty good locations, so I'm just going to use those. But I am going to lower the scene scale to get the points closer to the character's surface. With the line selected, let's hit M and X to mirror the line on the X-axis. Since the model is in a neutral pose, we can properly mirror the line. Now we'll select the other line and hit T to change it to a grease pencil type. With that all set up, let's export our lines. Now if we look at our grease pencil line, we can see it has a nice taper to it. But first, let's start with our mesh line. In pose mode, we can start posing our smile lines. I'm going to start posing the point so it doesn't clip with our face. It helps to have the transformation gizmo on with the local axis so that we can tell what axes our points are moving in. And we can scale down this point to sharpen up the corner of our line. Now we can use our shrink controls and our thickness controls to get the proper shape. I just want a nice sharp, short line at the corner of the mouth. And I'm going to add a keyframe for lock, rod, and scale just so everything is covered. Now let's go to the frame where it transitions to the next pose and start to tweak our shape to fade out. We will animate the shrink bones so that the line gets shorter, and then use the thickness control to fully fade it out. Then we'll go to the next frame and keyframe our visibility to turn off. Now we'll do the same thing for the expression before our smile expression. It will fade from a small line to the pose line. Alright, with all that set up, now we can do the same thing for the grease pencil line. First, we're going to set up the pose with our line points. For this one, it's going to go from a soft curve at the corner to a sharp point with the smile and then back out. Now we will switch to the grease pencil sculpt mode so that we can shape our line. Make sure that your grease pencil overlays are turned on and that the line is selected in edit mode so that we can visualize it better. First, I'm going to thin out the line so that it's the right shape and thickness. But even with it thinned to the maximum, we can still see a tiny sliver of the line, so we're going to use our strength sculpt brush to fade out those ends. At this point, I ran into a bit of a problem. I couldn't get the strength sculpt brush to work at all, but what was happening was the viewport draw mode was set to vertex, and in that mode the strength doesn't show up properly. So if you're having this problem, switch to either the material mode or texture mode, and then you'll be able to see the proper strength. Now we have a good looking line for our expression. Let's go to the frame where we want it to start being visible, and we're going to use the thickness brush to thin out the line, but we will not be touching the strength brush. And we'll do the same thing for the frame we want it to last be visible. Now, if we go into edit mode of the grease pencil lines, we can use the search bar to find the interpolate sequence operator to interpolate the thinning frames. Now go to the frames before and after the last frames and use the strength brush to fully make the line disappear. Now we have a nice grease pencil sequence where the line fades into the expression and then fades out towards the end. With this frame sequence, we can still go back into pose mode and change the overall shape as we like. And for fun, let's go and add some noise to our mesh line, just to show how easy it is to tweak the shape. And that is how we animate the expression lines on our character. I hope you enjoy using Lineworks, and thank you for watching.